Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews as always. Tate, heading into the final week of the football season. It's kind of cloudy.
Yes.
We don't know exactly what's going to happen. State soccer's this week. Volleyball is in the books. You know, the years are just kind of marked by times.
Yes.
The start of the football season, postseason starting. We're knee-deep in it here in the fall.
We are knee-deep in it. I know what you meant, and the experienced viewer knows, but just make sure the end of the regular season is this week.
There's three.
But as always, we will be well represented in the postseason.
Yes. There's three seasons, right?
Yes.
The pre, the regular, the post. And
then,
we get real serious in the post.
And then, Coach, do you hear that? I hear some squeaking of some shoes. I hear We'll be dribbling a basketball this time next week. I know that gets your juices going.
It does. I'll have to admit, it's kind of a period of mourning for me when it first comes back. But let me tell you, when they're doing those things in the summer,
you don't miss it.
I'm not mourning quite.
And you're hitting the white ball?
I'm not mourning quite as much because, as you know, a lot of people, fans included, they see the end of it and think about how great that is, but the work that goes into getting there.
Well, you're a family man. I have a couple of sons that I know you're very proud of, and your wife, Barb. As a son of, I hate to tell you this, as a son of a coach who was a coach for 20 years, every year that you're removed, that's going to get easier and easier to not miss those summers.
Sure. Sure. Well, Tate, listen, enough about
enough about us.
Enough about a has-been coach. Let's talk a little bit. Well, I want to start with this. Big news.
This is huge.
Classification news. Centennial dropping from 6 to 5A in football. Hey, and listen, they're a legit contender this year. You throw them in 5A, we're talking about a contender most years.
Yes. And
even those years when they were struggling, the past couple, in 5A, they wouldn't have been struggling.
Oh, they're competing for region championships every year.
Every year.
And you and I have some good friends, that, not talking about Page and Nolensville, but outside, around, that are in 5A. And they're not excited about Centennial coming to 5A.
They're definitely not excited. Page, moving up. Basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. They're going to move up in soccer. So I think we saw that coming with the growth of the school. Here's one that maybe was a little bit of a surprise. Fairview has moved up to 3A. Again, 4 classes in basketball. But in basketball, baseball, softball, they've moved to 3. So the growth continues. In Centennial's case, it actually went down. But I think those are good things. All of those we just mentioned, I think, are potentially really good things.
I think they're great things. None more so than the Centennial football going to 5A. But you know, Page basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, just postseason they weren't. But they were playing up with their regular.
Right.
Their non-district games were all those people anyways.
Well, and I can tell you what happens.
They are more than ready for that.
I'll tell you what happens. Even when you play one another, so let's say I'm Page basketball and we're playing all the Wilco teams. If it's not a league game, it's still not the same.
That's right.
When it's a league game, it's different. So I think they're happy about that. And listen, even in years when maybe you're not great, the way they've got the district set up now, that's probably a maximum of 10 games, more like 8. Well, you've got 29 games you can schedule or whatever it is in basketball. If you're trying to get some wins, you can do it outside of those 8 games. So I think they're excited. Some of that traveling they've been doing is outrageous for them. So what did you say? I think you said this before. Didn't our buddy Les Trotter tell us that why would I drive 100 miles to get beat when I can drive 8?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen to Page. I'm just saying that's I love that line.
And I don't know that get beat was the way he said it, but I get it.
Let's move on before something bad happens. Listen, let's talk a little volleyball. Bittersweet end of the season for a couple reasons. Number one, as you probably know, Tate, we talked about last week, first time since 2006 that we did not have a state finalist in AAA.
AAA volleyball.
And specifically, it was always Brentwood and Ravenwood. Of course, Nolensville's been in there too. winning the state title last year. Brentwood made a great run.
Yeah, they did.
They made a great run, but not having two teams in the state tournament was a surprise.
Yes.
And it obviously hurt us. And I know Nolensville's still smarting from that loss because when you watch that, Cleveland, who has a great team, they end up winning the whole thing, didn't lose a set, but they did have a loss to Nolensville. It's part of it, man. It's part of it.
Sports, man.
It's
You're
the
right.
beauty of sports.
I don't think Coach Young and the Lady Knights did not recognize that, and don't think Cleveland didn't recognize it. That hey, when I don't know if anybody was happier about them not making it, but hey, that doesn't take away from what Brentwood did. We talked about it. That's a championship legacy program.
It is.
They expect to win, and at times during the regular season, oh, what's wrong with Brentwood? Heck, they're not even gonna. I don't even know if they'll make it very far in the district tournament. Well. They got to the tournament. They do what Brentwood does. They make it to the state tournament. They're used to winning gold balls, but third place, we'll take it. The program is fine.
Shoot for the stars, fall into the clouds.
And you might like what you get out
Yes.
of it.
So first round, they sweep West Ridge, which we knew would happen.
And did we ever find out where the flip that is?
East Tennessee.
But
Up around Sullivan East, I was told.
there you go.
Nobody's going to check my facts on that one, so don't check it, Mr. Producer. Second round, they lose a tough one in 4 sets to Collierville. Then they have to go to the back bracket, the loser's bracket, the consolate, whatever you want to call it. That's when it gets tougher. So what happens in volleyball, Tate, to let our viewers know, you don't have to be beaten twice, but if you end up winning that final, it's your 6th match more than likely, maybe 5th. Versus the 4th. So the advantage is you're playing less matches. If you remember, it's what happened with Ravenwood last year. They got all the way to the final, hadn't lost. Then they face a Nolensville team who had to come through that back bracket. They win in a 1-match final. So depending on where I'm coming from, I'm probably going, we've both lost once now. Don't we get to play again?
Right.
But if I win it, I'm going, yes, we had to play 6 matches. We deserved it.
You love the rule. If you're on the other side, the shoe's on the other
side. Seems odd, though.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it is what it is. I'm assuming time has something to do with it.
Well, and the way volleyball is especially, if you say first match is at 12 and the second one's you can just forget that. Those matches go
on and on.
On and on and on. So I'm sure it would become difficult getting those in. So I get it. I do get it. When they went to that back bracket, they beat a very good Houston team in straight sets. Hillsboro, who had upset Ravenwood, they beat Hillsboro, who had a good tournament. Congratulations to Hillsboro. That set up that rematch.
Beat them 3-0.
3-0. Just rolled through them. That set up that rematch with Collierville. I was there for that one. You talking about an exciting. Obviously, we came up on the short end, but it goes all the way to 5 sets. It starts off with the 27-25 set, and then 15-12 there at the end, and they went back and forth in between. But the way Brentwood competed, where they came from, they have a lot to be proud of, Coach Cram and her crew.
Oh, no doubt about it, and we're losing a couple of really good seniors.
Really good seniors. Talk about those seniors.
Well, Dylan Solser and Ashley Miller, you don't replace people like that, but great careers, and I think, like what you said, I think they can leave their head held high, getting them back to the state tournament and with the 3rd place finish. But as much as we're going to miss them, the future is bright. We've got some really good freshmen and some underclassmen coming, and Elisa McKnight and Daisy Oatsfall had really nice tournaments. Freshmen. On that stage. Hey, speaking of
Salser, she had 57 assists. 57 assists against Collierville. That's one match.
That's unbelievable, really. Think about that.
Miller, 18 kills. McKnight, 19 kills. Oatsfall, 16 kills.
Freshman.
It's a lot of killing.
Golly.
That's the legal.
Pete will be out here.
For the state tournament, Miller had 83 kills. I thought this was kind of cool. And it's this week's gym, Tate. Salser finished her career number 9 all-time in assists in the state. That's according to the record books. 3,175 assists for her career. Her 1,328 assists this year, 8th most by a setter in a single season. Nice career for Dylan. Great year for Dylan. We're certainly proud of her. and she can certainly leave going, I laid it all on the line.
You think we can go ahead and say she's probably going to get a golden ticket invite?
I think she probably will. I think there's a good shot.
We need to reevaluate the process if she doesn't.
Hey, 36-13, overall record, district runner-up, region champs. So congratulations to Brentwood.
Yep.
Again, I know it's a little bittersweet for them, a little bittersweet for us, but hey, most districts can't say, dang, we're a little disappointed with third.
Right.
Usually they have parades for those kind of things.
Oh, without a doubt. And that's okay. Hey, give us
Standards a little different.
standard. We know what our standards are. We regroup. We'll be back. We'll be back next year.
Hey, let's talk a little soccer. And
We
let's
did a great job picking.
Let's start with Paige.
Thank goodness for them.
Man, I tell you, so we talked about them beating Murfreesboro Central Magnet for the second time in the district tournament. Well, after defeating Fairview in the first or in the semifinals of the region, congratulations to Fairview for a good year. Reagan Vaughn had a hat trick that night, 3 goals for Paige. That sets up another meeting with Murfreesboro Central Magnet, 1-0.
It's amazing.
Paige, Gracie Segundo.
I left my wallet in El Segundo.
She gets the lone goal, and then they move on to the sectional.
By the way, you're going to hear from her again in a second, but go ahead.
Oh, Gracie?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did okay in that sectional, too. 13 shutouts by the 6-0 in the sectional.
Yeah.
In the sectional. Usually that's a little,
Supposed to be.
man. 6-0, Segundo, and Reagan Hamilton both with 2 goals. So, Tate, they move on to the state tournament. Let's talk about that state tournament bracket. Take a look at that thing and tell me kind of what you're thinking here. I do think we're going to predict the same matchup.
Well, I think it's a 2-horse race.
Between
Who you've just mentioned, Paige, Murfreesboro Central Magnet. They have 6 losses on the year. 3 of them?
3.
But it was like that last year, wasn't it?
It was.
Again, I'm not worried about it because they're just 2 really good teams and that what happened. But they're always close, man. 1-0, 2-1. So you know that's what Central Magnet is selling, right? I don't even know what they are. What are they? The Tigers? Yeah, they're the Tigers. That's what they're selling. But Seymour, come on. You know, what are we talking about? This the Dollywood dump.
So Murfreesboro Central Magnet's going to get them.
Yes. Without a doubt. Oh, we're going, okay.
Let's go through the bracket. Let's just start at the top. Livingston Academy, nice record, but I looked at their schedule.
Come on. First of all, Livingston Academy. Now you're wondering why don't they play in Division II? Well, they're public school, okay? It's okay, but they're not really an academy. Up there in beautiful Livingston, Tennessee, all good. Know the territory well, okay? Have had to appear in the Overton County Justice Center for a speeding ticket one time there. It is an experience I will never forget. Let's just say the quality of soccer up there is not quite what Paige has been winning. Thanks for playing. The Patriots move on. Let's move down to Greenville, Dyersburg. Now, you're looking at 13-10, 19-2. Something's not adding up here, right? I'm going with Greenville with the 13-10 record.
Me too. Better schedule.
Better schedule.
Better team. So Paige, Greenville, a rematch.
A rematch. And you know, East Tennessee soccer is legit.
It's good.
Like here.
It's good.
I don't know who Dyersburg played. Doesn't matter. South Gibson. I feel bad because Coach Stidham and Coach Wilkins are here. Special place in my heart. Thanks for playing. Going with East Hamilton. We already talked about Central and Seymour. Okay. Going back to Paige and Greenville. Paige. East Hamilton, Murfreesboro Central. Central. 4th game. Paige, Central Magnet. I'm going 2-1. Coach Clapham, the Lady Patriots do it again.
I agree with everything you said. Paige wins it again. It does make me a tad nervous because in that sport, maybe more than any sport, you can dominate, have the shots on goal, and get beat.
Yeah.
You can kind of fluke in a goal. So it does make me nervous. Not nervous enough to say that Paige won't win. They're on a mission. Abby Thornton, Coach Clapp, the whole squad, they're ready to go.
Repeat.
Segundo.
She won't forget her wallet on October the 29th in El Segundo. I promise you. And it's like, for all the naysayers out there, it's hard to beat a team 4 times. One of my favorite coaches, really wise coach, said it's hard to beat a great team once. I think this is a great team.
It's a great team. Let's move on to AAA.
Okay?
Not quite as fun to talk about AAA. In fact, I was thinking I should have done a little research. When's the last time that WCS has not had a AAA team in the state tournament?
I'm going to say 7 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I figured it'd be like never.
In the state tournament?
Yes. Because Brentwood and Franklin
Yeah, I know.
and Ravenwood. And,
I'm going 7 years.
okay. We'll write that down, do a little research. Maybe Paul Brees, who I know has plenty of time on his hands, can get out there and do a
No,
little
he watches
research.
it after hours.
I know you're watching this at 2 a.m., Coach.
Yes.
Look this up. So the AAA bracket, let's go back to the region. So Indy beats Centennial 3-2 in overtime. Shout out to Coach Williams and her squad there at Centennial. Great year. In fact, Independence trailed 2-1
Yes.
in that particular match. Narika Pugh ends up getting the winning goal. Then you've got Ravenwood Nolensville. That one goes to overtime. Goal by Maddie Podolsky. It's no surprise. So now you've got Nolensville Independence. And I think a lot of people would say they're surprised that the region final was that side of the county.
I know. We missed
But
it.
what do we know?
Right. Hey, whatever we pick, go with the offense.
Go with the opposite. I was at that championship match. It was freezing. Wasn't freezing. It was a little colder that night. Nolensville wins 2-1. And here's what got me, Tate. Every goal was scored in a 3-minute span. Podolsky scores for Nolensville. Georgia Deeds for Independence.
Ties it up.
Back to Podolsky. All the goals were in that 3-minute span. Nolensville hangs on. Then we go to the sectional. So now you've got 2 of our schools representing at the sectional. Independence goes to Station Camp, and they do quite well. In fact, they tied the thing up. Gabby Fanol tied it up early in the second half. Coach Cook, who's got a great team there at Station Camp. Indy couldn't hang on. Station Camp wins 2-1. I don't think that one was a surprise. We knew it was going to be tough
Yes.
to go to Station Camp. Nolensville losing at home to our friends at Gallatin. I know you guys are watching, 3-1, but there's a little asterisk here, Tate. Maddie Podolsky, who was not at the game, at the match, she was at a Junior Olympics.
Boy, that's a tough one.
And you going to blame her for that? I mean,
No.
I will say this, not that this is Nolensville offered, said, hey, why don't we play that thing in the morning before she leaves? Gallatin had lots of people taking the ACT.
It's amazing how that works.
And listen,
I get it.
I get it.
Yeah, I don't like
The game's supposed to be scheduled for this. We're going to go with this. But I'm going to tell you right now, and we're not, no sour grapes, Gallatin.
No.
You know way win if Podolsky plays.
Ain't no question. Well, let's go back to
0 chance.
Let's go back to the previous. Okay, Ravenwood, Nolensville, overtime, 1-0 victory, Nolensville. Maddie Podolsky. You go to the championship game, they defeat Independence 2-1. Both goals, Maddie Podolsky. Yeah, no, she's not in the game. Now I will say this, Coach Greg Harper at Gallatin. I think he would say this. What Cookie has done at Station Camp, it's kind of like here, right? Iron sharpens iron. What they've done at Station Camp, what Coach Plummer had built at Hendersonville, it's made Gallatin soccer better. You know,
It has. It has. So good on them. Good luck to you guys. We won't be talking about or watching any of those. Although Cook, we'll be checking on her. We like Coach Cook.
we're Station Camp fans this year
This year.
for this tournament.
This year. Hey, let's talk a little cross country. I think the tide's getting ready to turn. First of all, we're going to get a Page State title,
Wow.
right? In soccer.
Right.
We already said.
Oh yeah, that's done.
Cross country.
Well, let me take that back. A race, because that hadn't been real good when I've been.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we
I
got
did not say that.
Central Magnets. So we feel good about Page.
Feel great.
The region meet this week out in Hendersonville for cross country. Next week will be the state meet. I think we're going to be here talking about lots of successful individual runners. We're going to be talking about Miles Raymer. We're going to be talking about Claire Stigall. We're going to be talking about Brentwood's team. So
Boys and girls.
I'm feeling pretty good about where we're heading here in cross country too.
I feel great about it.
No definite predictions though.
Yes. We're out of the predictions.
It's over. Tate, before we talk about football, I do want to mention too, bowling.
Yes.
Has been cranked up. A couple big ones last week. Brentwood's boys defeat Page, but the Page girls. Big win over Brentwood, which hasn't always happened, so congratulations to them. Franklin's boys and girls defeat Ravenwood 20-3 in both. Ashley Cernovitz with a 186. Riley Everhart, 169. Houston Folks, 267, Tate.
I thought this was a misprint.
267. Braden Didier, 227. I'm telling you.
Hey, they bowl like that, it's over. Like, go ahead.
Well, listen, Coach Logan now at Franklin is saying, watch out for our, but he doesn't shy away from it. Watch out for our boys. We have a chance to win the big one this year.
And that we're coming after the Tennessee River, Savannah, Hardin County. Yeah, we're coming for you, boys.
They're coming.
If they average that, good chance.
Hey, take a look at the standings, girls and boys. On the girls' side, we've got Page 3-1, Nolensville 3-1, Brentwood 3-1, Franklin atop of those standings at 4-0. On the boys' side, again, Franklin 4-1, Brentwood 3-1, and hey, Fairview in there at 2-2. Yep. I like that. So bowling getting going, and look at some of those averages, Tate. Didier 235, 235. That's his average.
That's I don't think if you haven't done it, paid attention to it, I don't think you really understand how hard that is. Anything over 200 is unbelievable. 233?
230, I said 230. You're right, 233. Yeah. 233. By 28 pins.
Yes.
He has the highest average. On the girls' side, Sydney Osborne, 164, the highest for the girls at this particular time. All right, Tate, let's talk a little football. I keep calling it week 9, but really it's week 10, game 9, because everybody was off.
Yeah, I hate it.
The same week in Williamson County.
You know, we took, sorry, this will be real quick. That could have been a clown show, but, you know, it was we had week 0, and then we ended on week 10 because there's a open date, which we need. I think we do need, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and so for some reason that bothered a lot of people, the week 0. And so now we have week 1 is our start date. Now we have a week 11. It just doesn't sound right. I don't like it. I never will. Didn't have a vote, but.
I think I may quit calling it week 1. I'll just call it game 1.
Game 1.
But then if we've got different buys, it's very confusing.
Yeah, it is. But don't you like the regular season ending on game 10, week 10?
It makes sense, but also week 0 is like, did we not play?
It's kind of like a preseason. Yeah. Hey, I found out today, I didn't know this. Talk about slappy or clowny. Indiana high school football, there's only 9, so I guess I shouldn't be complaining. There's only 9 weeks of the season. No open date. Everybody makes the playoffs. So week 10, first round of the playoffs, everybody makes it, even if you're 0-9.
It makes a lot of sense to me that Indiana's not known for having great
football. So good.
I didn't know they played.
Yeah, well, so did a lot of other people.
All right, let's start off with that WCTV game of the week. Nolensville at Franklin. We both agreed it was going to be a close matchup. In fact, Franklin jumps out to a 13-0 lead in that one. Nolensville then goes on to score 30 straight points, 14 there in the second quarter. They prevail 30-20. Franklin jumped out to a 13. Did I say that was the WCTV game of the week?
You did.
That's incorrect.
Correct.
That's incorrect. The WCTV game of the week was Page Indy, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah. But this would have been a great one too.
It would have been a great. I know that was on the chopping block. Didn't quite make it. Did I say that correct? The chopping block?
It was on the no. Well, it ended up being on the chopping block.
But it was on
it was up for game of the week, and then it got put on the chopping block, and it did not make the game of the week. But yes, we know. Proceed, sir.
It's on the whatever floor that's supposed to be where it makes it to the end.
Yeah, edit floor.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
We're not stopping, though. We're going straight through.
That's right.
So Franklin jumps out to that lead. They can't hold on. I thought this was kind of interesting. So Nolensville jumps back into it. They get a Kobe Walton to Chance Fitzgerald touchdown. But touchdown number 2 was a little trickeration. Chance Fitzgerald
That's right.
with the pass to Eric Harper.
46-yarder, I believe.
That's correct.
Just another example of his athleticism and another part of his game that we didn't even know about. Now, don't know. That was a tight game, so maybe we'd been holding that when we needed to get a win. I think it was important to keep momentum going for Nolensville, don't you?
I agree.
Especially after being undefeated after the Page run. So, but it also could be put that on film so these guys later on in the playoffs, it's something that they know is there. You never know. It could have been either one. Maybe it was both. But now that's something, as if we didn't have to worry about him coming and running it off that jet sweep, rocket, whatever you want to call it. He can throw it now. Oh, goodness. It couldn't have come at a better time.
Fitzgerald, 156 yards receiving, 156.
Yes.
Pretty good total.
9 receptions.
Tomaska, Zion, 90 yards rushing. And, of course, Sampson, I don't care what happens. I don't care if he gets 20 yards, 220. He always scores a touchdown, Samson Johnson.
Big-time player, man. That's why we call him Mr. Touchdown.
Mr. Touchdown. Franklin, look, some bright spots, I thought. Rocco Panea, 112 yards rushing. He's a senior, but that sophomore, Cooper Jordan, also with 110 yards against a pretty darn good defense. 0-9, but I'm telling you, it's the best 0-9 you'll ever see.
It's unbelievable, really. You just hurt for them. God, man, they're in every game.
Looking forward to see what your pick is this week.
Hey, this is.
I think I've got that set up where you may have to tell pick first.
And there's some history, some familiarity. Whew.
Looking forward to it. The WC TV game of the week, Independence at Page. This one I think surprised some people. Surprised us. We picked it wrong.
Yep.
I missed it. You missed it. The fans missed it. Dr. Qualls missed it. 13-0. Congratulations to Coach Stidham and his group. A defensive battle. 2 touchdowns in the second quarter by Trey Hartwell, the only 2 scores of the game. He ends up with 75 yards. He's another young man that gets in the end zone.
Yes.
You name the week, he's in there. Sapone played well. Don't call me. 15 for 30, 196 yards. Ethan Cunningham, 100 yards rushing for Page. And here's what I liked about this. Coach Rathbone mentioned this. He said that loss last year to Independence got us going because we knew we were pretty good. And even though we lost to Indy, we knew we had a really good team based on that performance, and it really jump-started the postseason. I guarantee you Coach Rathbone's okay with it because he knows it's a 6A team that's a good team.
That's right. Yeah. The only thing, it really doesn't surprise me so much that they won. The fact that they shut them out surprised me big time.
Page had some opportunities, but Indy had that bend, don't break.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I think all of our teams, we needed the rest, but there was probably a little rust. But it didn't matter anyway. It's a non-region game. What's the matter?
Yeah, but Page needed it more than anybody. They were banged up.
Banged up big time. They'll be ready.
And they, I hate it when, I shouldn't say I hate it. I don't like it when people go, oh, this one didn't count. But really it didn't. For Page.
It didn't.
I think it was big for Indy, but
I think it was too for their confidence coming into this final
you're
week.
talking about Trey Hartwell, but you're right, man. The guy just finds the end zone. 75 yards, that's not where, his average, but still. When a play needs to be made, he makes them.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a good-looking football player. And Sapone, don't call me Al, as he's really settled in at quarterback. Looking good.
Playing well. Hey, and I believe that's, it just hit me. I think it's the cutting room floor.
It is. Oh, yes.
Isn't that what it is?
Could be.
I think that's the official, TV.
Chop.
Whatever, chopping block,
works.
cutting room. Hey, speaking of that.
Speaking of cutting room?
No, it was such tough decisions that this week we had the plays of the week.
Do we go with cheetah print tonight? What do we want? So here we go. Indy in a unique formation there. Hands to Hartwell. He's got some room. That's 6. Just like on his jersey, Coach, 6. Touchdown Independence. Hartwell hits pay dirt and breaks the ice. All right, here we go.
Can Paige answer right here?
Kicking off, Eagles number 92, Leon.
Little pooch
Oh,
kick
my.
there, fumble on the play.
And he got it.
Independence hops on it, Coach. Just like that. Independence back in business. Back sniffing the end zone again right after they punched it in. You're making some
Well,
noise.
they got big 74 back there in the fullback spot, kind of leading the way. He's coming.
Hartwell follows him, and he follows him into the end zone. Touchdown.
Eagles.
Hartwell, number 2.
Well, we just talked about it. Doesn't really matter what the formation is. Got a little creative here, but at the end of the day, we need to play. Let's turn around and hand it to Trey Hartwell. Nice blocking up front. He takes that thing up into the end zone. Come back to the kickoff. You always tell your guys, hey, every play, right? And on the kickoff, just because we're kind of, I don't know if I would call that a pooch, but that one wasn't all the way to the end zone. Get your tail down there on kickoff coverage. And coverage, you never know what's going to happen. If we don't do that, that bobbled snap there over to recover it, that was huge. And then here we are. Let's go to the Wildcat. I was trying to think of, what did they call that when the Razorbacks had Darrin McFadden, that other guy? They called it something besides the Wildcat. It's the Wildcat. Let's snap it to our man, Trey Hartwell. He puts it in again.
I think of all the teams that maybe built some confidence, Indy maybe the most this past week. Certainly in 6A.
Hey, I know we're getting ready to get to it. Think about what they're playing for this week.
It's something. It really is. Looking forward to it. Centennial, 39-14 win over Laverne. They trailed 6-3 early. They only led 13-12 at the half. Second half was total domination. Tanner Lee, shout out, goes over 1,000 yards on the year. So congratulations to that young man. There's going to be more too.
Well deserved. That's a team. That's not only an individual accomplishment, that's a team accomplishment. That was a trap game for them. That was one that we've talked about. The film don't lie, right? And it also doesn't lie when you're showing them your opponent. Doesn't make it right. I'm sure a team can fall into it, but you hope you don't. Centennial woke up in the second half, took care of that. But that halftime does not worry me at all. Again, Centennial playing for a lot this Friday night.
Summit, congratulations to Coach Coleman, his staff, and those young men. Been battling all year. 48-0 win over Shelbyville. Dominic Hollis, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing. Austin Harvey had a rushing TD. Mason McElhaney, the sophomore, 7-yard TD run and a 12-yard pass to Kalen Holland. A little peek into the future maybe there with Mr. McElhaney, who, at this point at least, has the lead on that quarterback position next year.
Nobody in this 3-4 yard run hates Summit more than Shelbyville. They've had, some of the best teams in Shelbyville history go down because of they had to go through Summit and they couldn't get through it. And now here we are. Summit's rebuilding. And what do? Wait a second. We haven't been able to do this year. What do? They show up, the rebuilding Cougars and
Spartans.
The rebuilding Spartans. Coach Coleman decided to bust the old Donzie keys out, put the boat captain hat back on, thumped him.
Fit like a glove.
Fit like a glove.
And speaking of boat races, leave that on, sir. Fairview 39, Sycamore 3, Layden Grant, Crawford Claxton, both with 2 rushing TDs. Grant gets 110 yards rushing.
Yep.
Mays, McCoy, and Ethan Locke both with rushing TDs. And McCoy, again, you keep talking about Mays, 7 for 10, 135 yards passing to go with that rushing TD. Coach Hughes, he's been on this one a lot this year. Boat captain time once again.
Heck, I'm starting to wonder how he does his teaching duties and his coaching duties when he's on that boat as much as he is. But hey, you mentioned Grant. The big three. Remember in the back when the Dallas Cowboys, when Jimmy Johnson and Coach Switzer were there, and you had
the triplets.
Did
he call them the triplets?
Maybe. I thought they were the big three. Mr. Producer, we need to check that out. Doesn't matter. We're talking about Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Mr. Irvin.
Love Michael Irvin.
That's what we got going here. But as impressive as what those three did, Wendell Billingsley, 12 tackles, forced fumble. Grant had 5 tackles and a forced fumble from.
Sold some popcorn too.
sold some popcorn.
Grant's doing it all.
Handed out some atomic hot balls. That's what we had in the second half when we took our shoulder pads off. But 12 tackles, nose around the football, force. I've been telling you now, McCoy, remember, this is his first year as the quarterback. He's getting more and more comfortable. He's a big kid. He's an athletic kid. He's a confident kid. And I do. I think the Yellow Jackets have a chip on their shoulder.
His completion percentage is as good as any.
Yeah, man. This team's, if you see McCoy 21 for 35, you're probably going to see an L behind it because this team's not built to pass it 35 times. But that's what, hey, that's 70%.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's the Coach Bobby math class.
Hey, a couple games we don't want to spend a lot of time talking about. We're short on time, plus we don't want to talk about losses too long. Ravenwood loses the shootout at Pope John Paul, 36-38. They led at the half, actually, with only 13 points, and then the second half just got nuts. They rotated. I thought this was interesting. Connor Swan, the senior, and Maverick Chance, a freshman. Hey, Maverick, which is the
Great
name.
Especially for a quarterback.
It is.
I mean, we can do some really fun things with this next
Let's
few years.
hope that Maverick has a great career. Not only because we want you to, Maverick,
Yeah.
but we're going to do a lot with that name.
Yeah.
Maverick, Top Gun Chance.
Oh, man.
But they rotate. Isn't that cool, though? You're a freshman. You get out on the field in that game. That's a pretty good team. In fact, he threw a late TD to Sam Wolf that cut the lead to 38-36, but they couldn't get the onside kick. But what great experience. It's going to be interesting to see. What's Coach Hester going to do come this week and then playoff time in terms of that quarterback position? He actually has some options.
Oh, he has some options.
Chapman?
Well, that's not going away, regardless of what they do. Even if that's not the route they go, that's a package that they have. But I'm telling you, man, this is a huge game. And if you're sitting here right now, Centennial, Coach Cressy doesn't know what they're going to do. I mean, seriously, you have to work on all that now, unless he gets some inside information or something. But I can tell you this. I talked to Coach Hester Friday night. He wasn't even really up. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Of course, they want to win. He feels really good about where they are right now.
He's been in it long enough where he understands. He's not worried about 5-4. He's worried about we've got a chance to win the league still. And if we don't, we're still in it. He gets it. I like where they're at too.
Oh, yeah. Well, in 5-4, you look at the ones that are still left that are playing for that that are playing for the region championship outside of Centennial. Well, Brentwood's 6-3. What's Indy? They're 5 and are they 5-4?
5-4.
Yeah, they're 5-4. Ravenwood is sitting here at 5-4. So it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Last game, Brentwood goes to Beach. They come up short. Couple early turnovers were costly. Here's what I thought was interesting. Beach made them pass the ball.
Yeah.
If you look at their stats, there's a lot of statistics there in terms of passing and receiving. I think Nelson threw the ball like 40 times in that particular game. Big game from Merrill, big game from Manning, big game from Cochran. I think he had 81 yards receiving for them. But Beach obviously said, beat us throwing the ball. I think you're going to see that continue this week and in the playoffs.
Two things about that. You're exactly right. They took away the run. The thing that it didn't stun me because they're one of the best rushing programs in the state on any level. But there's been a lot made of the Brentwood defense, and it is good defense. Coach Crabtree will tell you he was really worried about them. The way Beach was able to run the football. But I'm going to chalk that up to they're really good at running the football. And I think there's a chance Beach ends up in Chattanooga. So, yeah. I mean, that would be, those are two things that got to be fixed.
If it's not us, it's going to be them.
I think so.
In Chattanooga, for sure, in 6A. And they're moving down to 5A also. So I know
Where
Coach
he's been known to have some success on 5A.
Hey, let's look at, listen.
What happened?
Again, we got to go. The fans, Dr. Qualls and I, all went 4-3. 51 wins. Fans, myself, Dr. Qualls, 50 wins. He's still in last. And you've separated a little bit, Tate. You've separated a little bit. You went 5-2. The big pick of the week, you picked Beach over Brentwood. The rest of us didn't, so that was the difference. Fans, keep voting on Twitter because it's not over till it's over. WCS CO Athletics. That being said, Tate, when we go to this week's picks, I've tried to set it up, as I always do, where you've got to show your hand a little quicker than I do. The WCTV Game of the Week, Game 1, it's Ravenwood at Independence.
It's at Independence.
It's at Indy. Indy Nation's fired up. I will say this. Coach Stidham's team right now, and we knew this would happen. He's a new coach to his team. They don't know them. He doesn't know them. They're playing the best they've played right now.
I agree. Ravenwood.
Oh,
I know you said we're on time.
I'm going to agree, Ravenwood.
Oh,
I thought I was going to be sitting you. Okay, Game 2, Brentwood versus Centennial at Brentwood. I think this is a very difficult pick.
this is difficult.
Look, beginning of the year, I said Centennial's playoff team. They're in. A lot of people didn't think they would be. I said, yes, they're in. And let me tell you, I'm going one step further this week. I'm saying Centennial wins this game. Centennial ends up being the region champions.
Wow. Hey, well, they're 8-1. They're playing really well. They've got an athletic defense that flies around, gets to the football, and Paige just showed you what happens. I think Brentwood is wounded. Wounded. The Bruins, they're limping into this game. Didn't I say they were going to finish second place? I stand by it. I'm going with the Bruins. I'm sure I'm going to hear about this on Twitter. Go ahead.
Game 3, your pick, Tate. Franklin, who you've said, I'm going to pick them until they win. But you backed off.
I backed off
You
that.
backed off a couple times.
I backed off that.
You backed off when they played Brentwood because Brentwood had to win to finish. And then you didn't pick them last
Well,
week.
and I didn't think they were going to beat them.
Franklin at Summit. What are you doing?
I'll tell you what I'm doing. Summit is playing the best football that they've played all year long. Dominic Hollis is running the ball really, really well. Starting to pass it a little bit better, but I think it's because of that run. I'm telling you right now, they never gave up on him. And if there are the football gods that we hear about, and I hate to say this for you, Summit, Franklin deserves this. They never gave up on him. They gave Nolensville everything they wanted. I'm going with the Admirals. I think Franklin gets the win.
Summit.
Okay, good.
We got to listen. I got to get back in this thing.
Separation continues.
It's either going to be very much separated or I'm back in this thing. I'm going Summit. Fairview at Waverly, another tough one. Waverly kicked them last year. Now they beat them pretty bad.
Yep.
They did. They're both undefeated. It's at Waverly, but I'm confident.
Do they have a field now? Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I'm going with Fairview.
Well, you say that like that's like you're picking,
No, I'm trying to get you to pick Waverly.
like you're picking Indiana to beat Penn State. This is where my competitive juices take over. I'm gonna go Waverly.
Wow.
Because if that happens, this thing's over.
Yeah, I'm going to present you with the trophy next week.
I never did get my gift certificate to
Well, we'll take care of it.
Shakes or whatever.
No, it shakes. Nolensville at Franklin County. Your pick, Tate.
If you think this is an easy game, you're wrong. Franklin County's athletic. They're pretty physical, and they know how to get the ball to their playmakers. I don't care. This Nolensville team has got something special to it. Plus, we got Mr. Touchdown. I'm going with the Nolensville Knights.
I agree, Nolensville. Last game, I think we can probably say this simultaneously. Page at home versus Lincoln County.
You going Page?
Page.
I don't know when the last time Page got shut out was.
Let's really go for the jugular. What'd you
But
pick?
it is a long time. There is no remedy for a shutout like Lincoln County showing up on the scrimmage. I'm going with the Page Patriots.
All right, so we agree there. We've got three that are different. Tate, as always, appreciate you being here. I'm excited. This has got me excited because I think I've got a chance again. Beyond, I'm excited about these great games.
No, yeah,
I just
great
feel-
games.
feel like
Think about this, man. We have 4 teams in Region 7, 6A that can win the championship.
We know this. If you win the game, you're going to be first or second.
First or second.
If you lose the game, you're going to be third or fourth.
And man, that is big for a lot of reasons.
A lot of reasons.
Feast or famine, man. Somebody's going to be real right or real wrong next week.
I'm not playing.
I'm interested to see.
I'm not playing for second.
I know that. I'm interested to see where the fans go. And I'm sure Dr. Q will just cut and paste.
Yeah, he'll mess something up. He'll mess something up. Tate, thanks for being here.
Yeah, man, it was great. Excited.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.